Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Kuf Sedik Hey, chapter 195, Aruch Kuriya, the laws of tearing the garments. When a person suffers the loss, the death of one whom he is obligated to mourn, he must tear his garments because of it. He must tear his garments while standing, as it is said, and the king arose and tore his garments, and that's from 2 Shmuel 13:31. If he tore his garments while sitting, he did not fulfill his obligation. He must again tear his garments while standing. Initially, he should tear them before the deceased is covered in the grave, when his soul is still intense. Number 2, for the dead, from whom one must observe laws of mourning, the tear in the garment must be made near the front of the neck. It must be made from the top downward and not in the width of the garment. The tear must be made in the very cloth of the garment and not in the seam. Number 3, there are differences between tearing garments upon the death of a father or mother and the tearing of garments upon the death of other relatives. For all deceased relatives, tearing a tefach of the outer garment is sufficient, and tearing it more than that is transgression of you should not destroy. For our father or mother, all garments must be torn that are over against his heart, except the undershirt which is not torn. Similarly, a garment that is worn only on occasions over other garments, and at times one goes without it, such as an overcoat, such a garment does not need to be torn. If the mourner did not tear all the garments that he was required to tear, he has not fulfilled his obligation. Because of modesty, a woman should first tear her inner garment in private, and turn to tear to the side, and then tear her outer garment, so as not to expose herself. Even though she is covered by her undershirt, nevertheless it would be immodest to do otherwise. Number 4, upon the death of other relatives, it is the custom to tear the right side of the garments, and upon the death of a father or mother, it is the custom to tear the left side of the garment, because the mourner must expose his heart, which is on the left side of his body. However, if it was done otherwise, it does not validate the fulfillment of his duty. Number 5, when tearing garments for all of the deceased, it may be done by hand or with an instrument, but for a father or mother, it must be done by hand. It is customary for a member of the burial society to make a slight cut in the garment with a knife, and then the mourner takes hold of the place of the cut and tears the garment. He must take care to tear the garment lengthwise and not in the width. Number 6, for all other relatives, if the mourner changes his garments during the Shiva period, he need not tear the garments that he is now going to wear, but for his father or mother. If he changes garments during the weekdays of the Shiva period, he must tear the garments into which he has changed. However, in honor of Shabbos, he should change garments and not wear garments that are torn. If he has no other garments with which to change, he should turn the torn part backwards to conceal it. Changing garments for Shabbos in this instance means putting on other weekday clothes, but he is forbidden to wear his usual Shabbos garments. Today, the prevailing custom is to wear regular Shabbos clothes even on the first Shabbos after the Shiva. Number 7, according to Aruch, garments that were torn for relatives may be stitched together after the Shiva and completely sewn after a 30-day period. For his father or mother, one may stitch them together after 30 days, but he will never completely sew them completely. Even to cut out a torn part of the garment and replace it by sewing it in another piece of cloth, it is forbidden. The prevailing custom is that within the 30-day period, even for other relatives, it is forbidden even to stitch them together loosely. Even to join the torn edges together with pins is forbidden within the 30-day period. A woman who is in mourning for her father or mother may stitch them together immediately for modesty. All torn garments which are forbidden to be sewn are forbidden to be sewn even if the garments are sold, and therefore the seller must inform the buyer. It is forbidden to sell such garments to a non-Jew. Number 8, for all relatives who pass away, if one did not hear of their death until after 30 days, he need not tear his garments. However, for a mother or father, the mourner must always tear the garments that he is wearing at the time he hears of their death. If he is informed of their death on Shabbos, he tears the garments the night after Shabbos is over. Nevertheless, if he changes his garments after routine, he need not tear them. Number 9, the intervention of a Yom Tov cancels the 30-day mourning period even in regard to tearing the garment. Therefore, if Yom Tov intervenes during the 30 days of mourning for other relatives, the mourner may even completely sew up the torn garment after the mincha prayer on the eve of Yom Tov. If he is mourning for a father or mother, he may stitch together the torn garment. Number 10, if a person tore his garments for the loss of a relative or another relative died during the Shiva period, he should leave a space of 3-finger breadth away from the first tear and another tefach, or he should extend the original tear by a tefach. But if the second death occurred after the shiva, so as long as he is wearing the torn garment, he need only extend the tear a bit, and this is sufficient. However, if the first death of that was that of some relative, and the second is that of his father or mother, then even after the first shiva, he must leave a space of 3-finger breadth from the tear, and make a new tear as prescribed by the halacha. For the death of a father or mother is not considered merely as an additional sorrow. The same law applies when his father died first, and then his mother, or vice versa. Number 11. If a person hears at one time about the death of his father and his mother, or of the death of 2 other relatives, he should tear his garments one time for both of them. Whenever he hears of the death of his father or mother together with the death of another relative, he should first tear his garments for his father or mother, and leave a space of 3-finger breadth, and then make a new tear for the other relative. Number 12. When a sick person has lost a relative, if his mind is clear and he realizes he has lost, but he is unable to tear his garments because of the seriousness of his illness, he is exempt from tearing his garments after his recovery. Unless he recovered within the shiva period, which is still considered a time of intense grief. If, however, he was unable to tear his garments because his mind was not clear, then when he regains his clarity of mind and realizes his loss, which is then his time of intense grief, he must tear his garments if it is within 30 days of mourning for relatives. But for the death of a parent, there is no time limit. Number 13. If a child or a minor lost a relative, even if the child has not yet reached the age of chinuch, his garment should be slightly torn for him, and sorrow and mourning. But if he has already reached the age of chinuch, it is a mitzvah for him to tear his garments like an adon. Number 14. When death occurs on Chol Hamoed, it is a custom in these areas. The author of Shulchan refers to the areas of Hungary, Czechoslovakia, which the board quotes from a Ramah 547-2 that the Jews of Ashkenaz had the custom not to tear garments except for father or mother. To tear the garments only for father and mother when it is the day of burial, or the day when he heard even delayed news of their death. However, if his father or mother died on Yom Tov, since the tearing of the garments had been postponed, you should not tear them on Chol Hamoed, but wait until after Yom Tov, when the period of mourning begins. But for all the relatives, the garments are not torn on Chol Hamoed until after the Yom Tov. However, if he heard on Chol Hamoed current news of the death, which will become delayed if he waited after Yom Tov, in such an instance, he should tear his garments on Chol Hamoed. Thank you for listening, and wish you all the best, and peace in Israel. Bye.